I could not afford to replace my artificial heart again. The doctor told me I was dying. The host on television asked Gu Qinghan to call the person she regretted most. Without hesitation, she dialed my number. I answered and heard Gu Qinghan ask, "You left me for money back then. Do you regret it?" Looking at the massive bill for a new artificial heart, I gave a faint laugh. "Gu Qinghan, you are so rich. Can you lend me 100,000? The call abruptly disconnected. Watching Gu Qinghan on television, I said coldly, "Now I have no regrets." She did not know that when her heart was failing, I secretly gave her my own heart. After the live stream ended, I immediately received a transfer of 200,000 from Gu Qinghan. I froze for a moment, my feelings tangled. I used the money to pay my medical bills. Then I suddenly heard a familiar voice outside my hospital room. Through the crack in the door, I saw Gu Qinghan. 7 years had passed. Time had not left the slightest mark on her. She was still as radiant and captivating as ever. The only thing that had changed was that I was no longer the one by her side. The awards gala had just ended. She had not even changed her clothes before rushing straight to the hospital, all because her young boyfriend had a slight stomachache. She lovingly held Hu Wei's head against her chest. I lowered my head, pretending not to see them, and quietly tried to close the door. Gu Qinghan suddenly yanked it open. I jumped, then looked up and met her eyes. Gu Qinghan's icy gaze swept over my body. "It has been a long time. Aren't you going to say hello?" I looked at her and parted my lips. 1,000 words rose to my lips, but in the end, they became one sentence. "Gu Qinghan, lend me another 300,000. Gu Qinghan froze for a moment. Anger flared in her cold eyes. She grabbed my hand. 7 years apart, and that is all you have to say to me. The countless needle marks on my wrist throbbed with pain. I took a deep breath and said softly, "Ms. Gu is so wealthy. If I borrow money from you, I'm afraid Mr. Hu might misunderstand." Gu Qinghan looked startled. Something complicated flickered in her eyes. She was about to speak, but Hu Wei seized her hand. "Honey, is this your ex-husband?" Hu Wei looked at me and spoke in a falsely sympathetic tone. "What can 300,000 even do? Sister Gu spent 500,000 on just one suit from me. It is a shame Mr. Li did not know how to cherish her. If you had not heartlessly abandoned Gu Qinghan, how would I ever have met her?" I stayed silent, my thoughts drifting back to the past. Gu Qinghan and I met in college. We fell in love and spent 5 years together. Back then, she was not yet a trillion-dollar entrepreneur, and my health was not nearly as poor as it was now. We were two poor students, both orphans, each of us finally having someone we treasured most to build a little family of our own. We worked our hearts out just as our careers began to improve. Gu Qinghan was diagnosed with severe heart disease. Treatment and a transplant would cost a fortune. We spent every penny we had saved for our business to raise money for her treatment. I worked several odd jobs every day. I ate only one meal a day, stretching every dollar as far as it would go. I worked myself to the bone just to save a little for her medicine. Even her medication was replaced with the cheapest, lowest quality generics, but we still could not find a suitable heart. As I watched Gu Qinghan grow thinner by the day, wither away before my eyes, just as I was nearing despair, the doctor came to me. He told me there was a match. The person whose heart matched Gu Qinghan's was me. My thoughts came to an abrupt end. Gu Qinghan affectionately rose on her toes and kissed Hu Wei's forehead. Her eyes were filled with endless tenderness. "If he had not been so heartless, how could I have met an angel like you? That 300,000 wallet you liked, I will buy it for you when we get home. Choose something more expensive next time. Your wife can afford it." Seeing them arm in arm, the pain seemed to spear straight through my heart. It hurt so much I could barely breathe. I pulled myself free from Gu Qinghan's unrelenting grip. I had no desire to remain proof of their love. As I turned to leave, Hu Wei, deliberately or not, stuck out his foot and tripped me. "Oh, brotherly, how could you be so careless?" I fell to my knees. The medical reports in my hand scattered at Gu Qinghan's feet. Gu Qinghan's expression tightened when she saw me fall. She instinctively reached out to help me. Hu Wei grabbed her hand. "What is this?" Hu Wei cried out. Gu Qinghan's attention shifted to the reports on the floor. She picked one up and scanned it quickly. "Artificial heart replacement." A flash of anger crossed Gu Qinghan's face. She flung the report into my face. "Li Chuan, I never thought that for money. You would use such a despicable scam. You really have not changed since 7 years ago. All you care about is money." I stood and looked at Gu Qinghan's healthy body. A faint smile touched my lips. Silently, I picked up the report. "President Gu knows I love money. Why not lend me some more?" Hu Wei was moved to tears. Crying, he shook her arm, but his gaze at me was full of mockery and malice. "Honey, maybe it is real. Besides, brotherly left back then, and that is why you received a heart from a kind donor. Why do we not help him?" Those words seemed to remind Gu Qinghan that I had once left her for money. The anger and hesitation in Gu Qinghan's eyes were instantly frozen over by coldness. A kind donor's heart cannot save someone as heartless as him. He does not deserve it. Gu Qinghan took Hu Wei's hand and turned away. Hu Wei was still pleading, but when he looked back at me, the curve of his lips was viciously mocking. I picked up the medical report covered in Hu Wei's footprints. My mechanical heart suddenly convulsed with an unnatural tremor. My pupils lost focus. Their retreating figures gradually faded from view. After a long while, I wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth. I looked at the words, artificial heart replacement. My fingers brushed the scar carved across my chest 7 years ago. Even now, Gu Qinghan did not know that the heart beating in her chest was mine. 7 years ago, because we could not find a suitable heart, Gu Qinghan grew weaker by the day. Artificial heart technology was not yet mature. In theory, it could sustain basic life, but there were far too many risks. Once the match was confirmed, I gave her my own heart. I received an artificial heart with a theoretical lifespan of 7 years. To save money, it was the cheapest model available. From then on, sharp pain would strike my chest from time to time. I regularly coughed up blood and was struck by sudden spells of weakness. Because I could not afford surgery for a newer artificial heart, I kept putting it off. Now, 7 years had passed. The artificial heart in my chest sent out its 7th wave of pain. I knew it had long been at its limit. After leaving the hospital, I returned to my rented apartment. The room was small, damp, and humid. It was especially freezing in winter and unbearably hot in summer, but at least it was cheap. Gu Qinghan and I had rented this place together. Here, we dreamed of the future we would share. After learning my heart was a match for hers, I pretended to be someone who despised poverty and craved wealth. I brought out divorce papers and demanded a divorce from Gu Qinghan. Gu Qinghan and I had spent 5 years together. No matter how bitter or exhausting life became, I never complained once. I had always stayed by her side. She knew far too well how deeply I loved her. She refused to believe I would leave her. I knew she loved me to her very core. If she knew everything, she would never let me trade my life for hers. To save her, I had to harden my heart. I pretended I had had enough. Enough of enduring a life of endless hardship by her side. Enough of living with her through days without a shred of hope. Enough of cheap medicine and 1 meal a day. Drinking cold water when thirsty, gnawing on a bun when hungry, stretching every penny as far as it could go. I told her I was sick of it all. I still remember that day. That strong-willed girl, never afraid of pain or blood, shed tears for the first time. Weeping, she signed the divorce papers. I signed my name on the organ donation agreement as well. After the operation, bearing all the blame, I left Gu Qinghan for good. I returned to the apartment where we had spent 5 years together. I quietly waited for the death I had chosen to embrace. I just never expected that I would see Gu Qinghan again one day. Now she had gone farther and farther, becoming everything we had once dreamed she would be. But I could never go back. Watching her radiant image on the news, I felt a sudden ache, yet also a measure of comfort. My phone rang, shattering my memories. I answered. It was the bank. They told me the person who sent the previous 200,000 had made an error, and I had to return it immediately. Otherwise, I would face criminal charges. After hanging up, I gave a bitter smile. I did not know what else to say. After a moment of silence, I called my friend. I asked him to find me a job so I could repay the money. Gu Qinghan hated me so much. If she learned that someone who only cared about money now needed to pay in installments, she would gladly agree. She would watch me work myself to the bone repaying that debt. Because of my heart, I was often weak. There were many jobs I could not do. I could only survive on the occasional odd job. My friend Chen knew about my condition. He found me work as a banquet server. It was fairly easy work and paid 500 a day. Once I put on the server's uniform, masked my face, and served drinks at a banquet, I saw Gu Qinghan again. She wore an elegant designer gown. Her figure was graceful and elegant, and every movement was poised. Hu Wei wore an expensive suit, standing tall beside her. Arm in arm, they looked like a perfect couple. Everyone crowded around them, eager to flatter them. I took one look, then immediately lowered my head. As Gu Qinghan took her glass, she did not recognize me. Just as I turned away, Hu Wei suddenly spoke. What kind of server are you? Can you not see you spilled wine on my clothes? I stopped short. Only then did I notice a wet patch on the corner of Hu Wei's suit. I said nothing. I simply lowered my head and wiped the stain from Hu Wei's suit with a napkin. Gu Qinghan watched me, her brows faintly furrowed, her lips pressed into a thin line. Malice spread through Hu Wei's eyes. He suddenly kicked me in the chest. Agonizing pain struck, and I crashed to the floor. A cry of pain escaped me. Do not touch me with your filthy hands. Security. Throw him out. Hu Wei looked furious, but he could not hide the smugness curling at his lips, though only my eyes were visible. The instant our eyes met, Gu Qinghan still recognized me. Her lips moved as if she wanted to speak. A flicker of pain flashed through her eyes, then gave way to boundless mockery. She raised a hand, stopping the guards. Then she ripped off my mask. Li Chuan, why not say hello when you see your ex-wife? Hu Wei pretended that he had only just recognized me. He hurriedly pulled me to my feet. Brotherly, how could it be you? You are Sister Qinghan's ex-husband. How could you be working here as a server? It was as though someone had hit mute on the ballroom. In an instant, it fell deathly silent. Everyone stared at me. Then the room erupted in mockery. I heard President Gu's ex-husband chose money when she needed him most. He abandoned her. What goes around comes around. He abandoned President Gu and ended up as a server. He deserves it. Someone splashed red wine over my head. Then wine came at me from every direction. Glass after glass was hurled at me, shattering against my body. Dark red wine mixed with bright blood, spilling across the floor. Clearly, these people trying to please Gu Qinghan wanted to avenge her. Blood ran from my forehead down my cheek, yet I could not feel any pain. Gu Qinghan looked at me, her eyes openly cold. Li Chuan, why are you not saying anything? Do you have to be paid just to speak? Gu Qinghan gave a cold laugh. Mocking laughter rose around us. You became a server just to borrow money from me, did you not? Fine. I will grant your wish. She waved for someone to bring over more than a dozen bottles of expensive red wine. Drink every drop of this, and I will give you 300,000. She threw 300,000 in cash onto the floor. The cash lay stark against the blood-red wine on the floor. Gu Qinghan's face was cloaked in unyielding frost. Everyone in the hall were mocking expressions, coldly watching the spectacle unfold. Ever since receiving the artificial heart, my body had grown increasingly weak. I could not even lift anything remotely heavy. I could no longer run or jump. Even walking a few extra steps left me gasping. The alcohol ordinary people used to numb themselves could make my artificial heart fail if I drank even a little too much. I looked up at her, my lips twisted into a faint smile. At last, I spoke. Then I will not have to repay that 300,000 either, right? Gu Qinghan froze in surprise. Anger rose beneath the bone-deep chill in her eyes. Her teeth ground together tightly. Fine. At her answer, I smiled. Then I grabbed a bottle and poured the wine down my throat. My body had long been pushed beyond its limit. The doctor had warned me not to touch a single drop of alcohol. The burning taste flooded my mouth. My body heaved on instinct. I nearly vomited. Forcing down my nausea, I swallowed the wine. Then I drank bottle after bottle. Everyone watched this joke with scorn. Only Gu Qinghan's face gradually darkened. I forced down another bottle. When she saw me reach for more wine, Gu Qinghan finally could not bear it and grabbed my hand. Li Chuan, will you die without money? Looking into her bloodshot eyes, I nodded. You are right. Without money, I will die. Furious, she shoved me away. Fine, then drink it all. Drink until you are full. My body felt as heavy as if boulders were tied to it. The artificial heart in my chest seemed to stop beating. I smiled and took a shallow breath. I grabbed another bottle and raised it to my lips. Gu Qinghan had finally had enough. She yanked the bottle from my hand. Enough? My body could no longer hold itself up, and I collapsed. Tiny shards of glass pierced my body, dyeing the floor crimson. Hearing the commotion, Chen rushed over. He lifted me up in panic and shouted at Gu Qinghan. Li Chuan gave you his heart. He is living with an artificial heart. He cannot drink at all. He will die, you understand. Hearing Chenzi's roar, Gu Qinghan went rigid as though struck by lightning. The mockery and coldness on her face instantly crumbled. They were replaced by endless shock and panic. Her eyes widened. She stared fixedly at me in the pool of blood. Her lips trembled. She seemed to want to say something, but it was as if all her strength had been drained away. She could not utter a single word. After what felt like an eternity, she finally spoke. Li Chuan, I never thought that for money you would invent a lie like this. I rose shakily, looking at her with a cold smile. As far as she was concerned, I had once left her for money, when she was at her most desperate and miserable. Now that she was successful and famous, a shameless man like me would naturally throw away his dignity and lie for money. I met her disgusted, icy gaze. I no longer even had a heart. Yet an inexplicable pain suddenly twisted through my chest. Li Chuan, you really went to great lengths to deceive me. Slowly, I pulled free of Chenzi's support. Though my body was already at its breaking point, I still forced myself to stand on my own. I looked at Gu Qinghan and smiled. I never thought you would see through me. After saying that, I glanced at Chen. A flicker of shock crossed his eyes. Then he realized something. His slightly parted lips slowly pressed together. Tears gradually filled his eyes. He did not understand why I still refused to tell her the truth. Gu Qinghan sneered. You really are just as shameless as ever. I only smiled and said nothing more. My attitude seemed to make Gu Qinghan even angrier. Just as she was about to speak, Hu Wei suddenly took her hand. Honey, Brother Li must have his reasons for faking heart disease to scam you out of money. Just help him. Gu Qinghan shot me a glance. Some of the anger faded from her face. With a cold laugh, she signed a check and flung it at me. Fine, your friend says drinking will kill you. Then save this money to buy yourself a burial plot. I bent down and picked up the check from the floor. I gently shook the check in my hand. Thank you for your generosity, Ms. Gu. Seeing me stagger and nearly fall. Hu Wei came over as if in sympathy and held me up, but his fingernails dug viciously into my flesh. Brotherly, no matter how little you care about your body, you should not sell your heart. I yanked my hand free. Hu Wei pretended I had pushed him, falling into Gu Qinghan's arms. Brotherly, I was only trying to help you. Hu Wei looked at me pitifully, forcing to tears from the corners of his eyes. Rage surged through Gu Qinghan, her eyes full of boundless disappointment. She immediately summoned security. They threw Chen and me out. Amid the bitter cold wind, Chen finally could not hold back. He looked at me in anguish. Why will you not tell her? Even now, if you told her, you would not have to suffer this. I smiled and merely waved the check in my hand. It is all in the past. What is the point of saying so much now? Look, it would have taken me ages to earn these 300,000. Chen looked at me and could not help asking, is this really worth it? She humiliated you so badly. I remained silent. 7 years ago, when I gave my heart to Gu Qinghan, I never considered whether it was worth it. I only wanted to save her. That was all. Thinking of this, perhaps my memories were detangled. I suddenly coughed up blood. My vision suddenly blurred. Chen frantic shouts echoed beside me. When I woke again, I found myself in a hospital. The stark white hospital room stung my eyes. Chen was at my bedside. Seeing me awake, he anxiously asked, how do you feel? Are you feeling unwell anywhere? I opened my mouth, but my throat was painfully dry. Soon, the doctor examined me. With a grave expression, he said, Mr. Li, your body can no longer tolerate the artificial heart. If a compatible heart cannot be found within 3 months, your life will be in danger. I said nothing. Chen eyes reddened again. Finding a compatible heart within 3 months was an impossibly slim chance. It practically meant I had only 3 months left to live. Perhaps heaven had foreseen the ending, which was why I reunited with Gu Qinghan before my death. Unexpectedly, I was calm. Looking at Chen I suddenly smiled. Why cry? I still have 3 months to live. For the last 3 months of my life, I did not want to lie in a hospital bed. I asked Chen to arrange my discharge. After leaving the hospital, I used the 300,000 to choose a fine burial plot for myself. While I was alive, I never had a home of my own. After death, thanks to Gu Qinghan, I would finally have a place of my own to rest. After choosing the plot, I went to a funeral supply store. I personally chose my burial items. After returning to my rented room, Chen suddenly sent me a link. Take a look at this, quickly. Puzzled, I opened it. It was footage from that celebration banquet. The video clearly showed Hu Wei kicking me down, Gu Qinghan exposing me, and everyone finally splashing me with wine. I was on my knees, utterly humiliated. The footage showed my face clearly. The uploader added this caption: the ex-husband of trillionaire CEO Gu Qinghan abandoned Ms. Gu for money when she had heart disease. Now that Ms. Gu is wealthy, he claims he donated his heart to her in order to swindle her out of money. Just like that, an unknown nobody like me instantly became a top trending topic everywhere. The entire internet learned that celebrity entrepreneur Gu Qinghan, worth trillions, had a shameless ex-husband. They also learned just how heartless that ex-husband was. He abandoned Ms. Gu back then, and now that she is rich, he has come back to ask for money. Shameless. Asked to borrow. He is demanding it, if you ask me. A kind stranger donated a heart to Ms. Gu. How can he have the nerve to claim it was his? For a time, I was viciously condemned. Countless netizens began doxing me, digging up my address and personal information. Some even threw trash and splashed paint outside my home. I offered no defense, nor did I make any statement. I already knew who was behind it. Chen was frantic and wanted to clear my name publicly, but I knew we had neither power nor influence. Even if he revealed the whole truth, no one would believe him. They might even call him my accomplice and attack him online too. Just then, a message came through on my phone. Come to the cafe at Xinghai Tower. We need to talk. When I arrived at the cafe, Hu Wei had been waiting for some time. A glint of smugness flashed in his eyes. Then his lips curled into a mocking smile. Well, if it is not brother Li Chuan, how did you end up this pathetic? Why did you do this? Hu Wei gave a disdainful snort. Do you think Gu Qinghan really loves you? She only gave you money because she pities you. I hope you recognize your place. You are nothing but the ex-husband who abandoned her. Everything she has now was built with me by her side. I am the one she loves most. Hu Wei looked down at me arrogantly. His eyes were full of smug satisfaction. A sharp pain pierced my heart. After a long silence, I looked up and met his eyes. At least I saved her life. Hu Wei's expression changed, as if he had heard the funniest joke. He laughed for a long while before finally stopping. Then go tell Gu Qinghan. See whether she believes you, her heartless ex-husband, or me, the husband who stood by her through everything. Do not kid yourself, ex-husband. Even after Hu Wei strolled away, I never said another word. He was right. In everyone else's eyes, I could only ever be the heartless man who abandoned Gu Qinghan. When I returned home, I found that everything online about me and all the online abuse had vanished. When I checked my phone, I saw Gu Qinghan had called me more than a dozen times. Though we were divorced, I was still her ex-husband. My disgrace probably made her ashamed to face anyone. She must have called so often because of this. But I was dying soon. After thinking it over, I did not call her back. I packed up everything in my room, putting every memory from the past into boxes, then returned to the old house. I did not want this place, filled with beautiful memories, to be stained by my death. As for what came after my death, I left everything to my friend, Chen. Perhaps I would look awful when I died, but I did not think it would scare him. After all, it would be the last time we ever saw each other in this world. So perhaps he would forgive my final prank. Back at the old house beside the orphanage, I did not know how Gu Qing would react after learning the truth. But now, I did not care in the slightest. I was an orphan, raised in an orphanage. The first time I left home was for college. On my first day on campus, I met Gu Qing for the first time. Everything we had shared had long become a heavy memory. Looking at the yard overgrown with weeds, my past felt as tangled as those weeds. I cleared the weeds from the yard, as though I were sorting through my past. Once everything was clean, my heart loosened slightly from the pain of approaching death. Perhaps hearing the noise, a hunched figure walked in. Li Chuan. Is that you? You are back. I turned and saw an elderly woman looking at me. Her eyes were full of delight. Grandma Liu. A long-lost sense of warmth and familiarity surged through me. I suddenly realized I was not completely alone. When I was young, Grandma Liu had cared for me through my hardest days. It was also Grandma Liu's patient care and guidance that kept me from going down the wrong path. The instant I saw someone like family, my forced calm and all my buried grievances became tears at the corners of my eyes, and I could not stop myself from crying. Afterward, Grandma Liu simply comforted me. She never asked what suffering I had endured outside. She was afraid of stirring painful memories. She only made my old favorite, braised pork. Watching me eat with grease all over my mouth, she smiled happily. And so, some time passed. I returned to the stone bridge where I had once gazed into the distance so many times. The mountains before me were wrapped in thick clouds and mist. At their feet, pedestrians were tiny black and white silhouettes. One look made the mountains seem so towering, and people so small. The rumors that should have been completely buried were revived by an ordinary social media post, and news about me erupted online once more. The salesperson who had shown me the burial plots shared a story from work as usual. Earlier, a very pale, tall, handsome older man came to buy a burial plot. He said he wanted a grave site with a beautiful view and plenty of sunlight. It was the first time I had heard such a request, so I asked whether it was for an elderly relative. He said he was buying it for himself. Honestly, I did not know how to feel. The post included a photo of my profile. It was not very clear, but clear enough to identify me. The post immediately drew a great deal of attention. Before, I had been seen as a man who despised poverty and chased wealth, a heartless man who abandoned Gu Qing. But now they discovered that I seemed to be hiding a major secret. So many people began digging into me again, searching through my past and my life story. Everything connected to me was uncovered, piece by piece. Earlier, a young man came in and asked whether he could pre-order sunflowers. It was my first time hearing of someone using sunflowers for a funeral. The young man said sunflowers turn toward the light. Down there, he could follow them to somewhere warm. Only later did I learn he was buying them for himself. Only then did everyone realize I was dying. Public opinion about me immediately reversed online. Gu's ex-husband is dying. He went to the banquet disguised as a waiter. He probably wanted to see Ms. Gu one last time. Maybe he also wanted to borrow money from Ms. Gu to save his life. Then the truth about my artificial heart was fully revealed by a doctor. This time, everyone fell silent. My former attending doctor could not stay silent any longer and spoke out. Mr. Li once donated his own heart, then received an artificial one. He would not allow us to reveal his identity to the recipient. He left alone in silence and bore everything himself. With an artificial heart, Mr. Li could never withstand that much alcohol. I only hope his body recovers. The more netizens uncovered, the more they sympathized with me. Almost no one could believe I was truly such a heartless, faithless man. Finally, the surgeon who had personally removed my heart came forward and explained everything. All these years, I have wondered whether I should make Mr. Li's story public, but whenever I was about to say it, I could not help remembering the way he begged us. So many years have passed now, and I never imagined Mr. Li had suffered so much. Had I known, I would have revealed it sooner. The truth that I had donated my heart to Gu Qing ultimately caused a massive uproar, but in my little courtyard, I knew nothing of it. As usual, I went out to buy groceries at the market. I tried to use what little life I had left to leave behind a trace of myself. A speeding van came hurtling toward me. The world spun around me, and when I woke again, I was in a hospital bed. Once Chen saw me awake, he could not stop crying. He knew I was going to die, and had prepared himself to accept it. But he did not want me to suffer like this before I died. The hospital room door suddenly burst open. Gu Qing clutched the doorframe, gasping for breath, then rushed inside. Sweat had soaked through her clothes. Dust clung to her body. Her hands and feet were covered in scrapes. With red-rimmed eyes, she raised the diagnosis report crumpled in her fist. She looked at me, pale in the hospital bed, her voice hoarse. "Why didn't you tell me?" Watching tears spill from her eyes. I was not happy that my name had been cleared. Instead, I suddenly felt a little lost. I smiled and said nothing. At this point, none of it mattered anymore. Gu Qinghan could no longer hold back her tears. She tried desperately to suppress her sobs, but she still cried before me like a child. "I will find you the best doctors in the world. I will use every resource and connection to find you a compatible heart." I looked into her bloodshot eyes. 1,000 words rose in my heart, but on my lips they became one. Okay. After that, Gu Qinghan arranged my discharge. She took me back to the old house, but she did not leave. Instead, she stayed by my side and cared for me. As I watched her tend the flowers and plants in the yard, I was silent for a long time before finally speaking. "Mr. Hu will be upset if you do this." Gu Qinghan paused slightly and turned to me. "It is all right. I will divorce him, and we will find a compatible heart for you soon. I am also investigating the person who drove into you that day. I will never let anyone who hurt you get away with it." I watched her carefully fertilize the seeds. At the time, I did not know what her words truly meant. Renowned doctors from home and abroad came one after another, with their treatment and tens of millions spent on my medical care. My body gradually recovered some strength, but a heart could not be found. A replacement heart remained impossible to find because I had a rare blood type. There were very few hearts compatible with mine. I had known all along just how difficult it was to find a suitable heart. After giving my heart to Gu Qinghan, I often wondered if fate had brought together two people with the same illness and the same blood type, her and me, perhaps for that very moment. In these final days, perhaps dying so peacefully would not be so bad. A few days later, Gu Qinghan suddenly told me they had found a compatible heart, just as I was confused. Gu Qinghan drugged me unconscious. Before I blacked out, a powerful sense of dread rose within me. Gu Qinghan was dressed in surgical scrubs. With tenderness and reluctance in her eyes, she stroked my face. "You once chose death from me. Now it is my turn. Begin the operation." When I woke again, Gu Qinghan was gone. I saw only Chen and a police officer. After the officer explained, I finally learned the truth. Hu Wei had hired someone to run me down that day. After Gu Qinghan learned the truth, she killed him to avenge me, knowing she could not hide her crime for long. Gu Qinghan used the time she had left to transplant her heart into me and let me live. She also transferred all her property into my name. In the end, she died in the operating room. Hearing this, an indescribable tangle of emotions rose within me. After leaving the hospital, I personally held Gu Qinghan's funeral. I buried her in the plot I had chosen. I will plant flowers all around her. When spring comes next year, this place will become a beautiful sea of flowers. She would be happy to